This is my video on Claudett Colvin. There's not really a lot of information about her and her early life and teen years, but she was born in Montgomery, Alabama in 1939, and she went to a segregated high school named Booker T. Washington, and she relied on buses for transportation. Parents didn't have a car at the time. You either had a car, took the bus, walked, or rode a bike. And at this time, buses were as segregated as everything else, especially that era in Alabama. Just like how drinking fountains were segregated in bathrooms, on a bus, people of color were supposed to sit in the back. Or if they were sitting towards the middle or towards the front, if a white person told them to get up and move, they were supposed to, no questions asked. And she didn't, and this created the bus incident. And before Rosa Parks, Claudette actually did the unthinkable. She refused to give up her seat to a white person on the bus. She was told to move from her seat that she was sitting in by the bus driver because a white person wanted to sit in her seat, but she refused. And eventually, the bus driver got a couple police officers and they forcibly arrested Colvin, taking her off the bus. And she was tried on assault, disturbing the peace and violating the segregation laws. And on May 6th, in 1955, in the Montgomery Circuit Court, the segregation violation and disturbing the peace charges were actually dropped, and her minister actually bailed her out of the assault charge. And because of this, I mean, not, but this was around 9 months before Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat. But because of this, this is how the connection in between the two have started. So Claudette Colvin, was actually a part of the NAACP's youth group at the time, and inevitably, when this happened, she knew she was going to go to court, and so she went to the NAACP to see if they would represent her in court, and she pitched her case, and they took her on it, and they actually devised a plan to reenact what happened to her. And at the time, Rosa Parks was actually a secretary at the NAACP, and I think they chose Rosa Parks because she's an adult and would get more widely known attention than a teenager. And so Colvin and Rosa Parks spent a few days together or a week and actually exchanged what happened and practiced what happened and what she did and how Rosa can go through with it. And thus, Rosa Parks went through with it, and eventually it started the Montgomery bus boycott. And after her activism, or during it, because of her actions on the bus, many people in the community thought she was a troublemaker and didn't want anything to do with her, wouldn't hire her for a job or anything, and it led to her dropping out of college and struggled to live. No money, no income. You can't live. You can't buy food. You can't live. Eventually, she did move to New York with her son Raymond and moved in with her sister. She did get a job as a nurse's aide and was there for 35 years until she retired in 2004. She also had a second son living in New York. And before she actually moved to New York, she actually was part of a court case that actually led to the Supreme Court, and it was to end segregation on buses in Alabama, and they actually did win. But after that, she moved to New York to live with her sister, and in the mid 90s, her first son Raymond actually died from a heart attack living in New York. And the lack of recognition, since Rosa Parks is more widely known and everyone knows about her and her story, a lot, most of the museums, the majority of them, or all of them, are all about her and what she did, and little does anyone know about Claudette Colvin and how she did it first, actually. And Colvin was actually invited to speak at museums and gatherings, but she actually refused if there's nothing on her about the topic or if it's all about Rosa Parks. And after years of fighting to get her recognition, she has stated that she's not really angry about it anymore, but she's just more disappointed about it than anything. And I think they should both equally get enough recognition because without Claudette Colvin doing what she did and refusing to give up her seat, and getting arrested in the court case. It wouldn't have created a butterfly effect that would eventually lead to Rosa Parks and the whole devised out plan that eventually led to the boycott, that led to the end of segregation on buses. So I think that Rosa Parks still deserves her part of the recognition because she was the one that inevitably started the boycott. She's the one that made it widely known. But without Colvin and her actions of what she did, who knows if it would even happen at all with these two people or in general. So I believe that they should equally get the most amount of recognition they can, and one shouldn't be more than the other. And at this time, Claudette Colvin still doesn't get enough recognition. And that's my video.